Hi, welcome to this series of Parenting with Purpose and African Wisdom. My name is Dr. Gladys Mwiti. I'm a clinical psychologist, the CEO and founder of Oasis Africa, headquartered here in Nairobi, Kenya, reaching out to the rest of the nation, into the region, into Africa and beyond. We are reading through my book, Parenting with Purpose and African Wisdom, that was written as a motivation of sharing principles of parenting with parents. We want to encourage parents that most of the time we are doing okay, but many of us are worried, am I really okay? What if I'm doing my best here and my neighbor is not, and my child hangs out with my neighbor's child? So this series, this particular time, we are looking at my chapter 3, looking at the role of prayer in parenting. So today we look at prayer as submission and request for wisdom. We use proverbs in this book, African proverbs and biblical proverbs. So the two proverbs for this section of prayer, submission, and request for wisdom, we use a proverb that says, the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. The ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people. And then a biblical proverb, Proverbs 24 verse 3, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. What's the meaning of these proverbs? The African proverb, the ruin of a nation begins in the homes of its people, represents basic reality that emphasizes the importance of parenting as the bedrock of any nation, and so the need for parents to seek God's wisdom in undertaking this critical role. The greatest threat to any nation is not an enemy from without, but decay from within, where the values of the people are concerned. And those values are founded and ingrained right within the family. The decay begins with the destruction of those values and the poverty of rearing and mentoring the next generation. One of the things that happened during COVID-19 is there was an increase in domestic violence and an increase in gender-based violence, sexual violence, right from home. So what's happening to the values that should undergird the integrity of any family? That's the question, and that's the African proverb. Now, the biblical proverb, by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established, a reminder that God-given wisdom is the only way to establish stable homes and stable nations. In the Bible, the word house can refer to a family or to a nation. Seeking God's wisdom in raising children will give us fervent men and women who contribute to the establishment of strong nations. Seeking God's wisdom is also an admission that knowledge without God's wisdom is useless. This submission is a position of obedience and meekness, where someone looks up to and with humility yields power to the control of another. From this position of humility, the parent requests for wisdom and know-how in order to guide the child into God's plan and purpose. That's why we call this book Parenting with Purpose, intentional parenting. And the intention is to get the child to walk in God's plan and God's purpose. The way the Almighty has ordered this world is that none of us has any power to see into the future. How wise then is a person who acknowledges this blindness and requires the Almighty to guide both child and parent into the unknown? Those people are truly wise. This submissive request for wisdom is an ongoing, non-ending process, not only because the future is a mystery, but also because children's personalities are another enigma. And every parent soon finds out that they cannot cut and paste a parenting style from one child to another. Hence, parental blindness is double-fold. First, they cannot tell the future, and secondly, they are dealing with fresh molding clay every time they hold a newborn in their arms. How much then does the parent need the humility that says, God, show me how? I can't see the future. I'm holding a baby who is totally different from the last one I had, or another one I might have in a few years' time. I'll never forget the challenges I faced in weaning our second-born baby. Every mother remembers that weaning is not easy. It's not that simple. Our firstborn daughter loved mashed avocado. My second-born came, my son. Every time I mashed avocado into his food, he spat the stuff into my face, as though he was shouting, I am not my sister. Please leave avocado out of my food. I hate the stuff. He could not speak. He was a baby, 2.5 months old, but my, could he spit. This is a simple but clear reminder that our children are different in many ways. It follows that every parent needs all the help they can get from the children's creator. So our role as parents is obedience and meekness towards God, as well as consistent request for wisdom. God, show me how to bring up this child. Once again, this request for wisdom never ends, however old the child might become. Here's a lady by the name of Mrs. Odero. She narrated to me how untidy her teenage daughter Minnie was. The young lady, Minnie, was very tidy and careful with her personal things all through later childhood into her teens. Then as soon as she became a teenager, everything changed. Minnie's bedroom that she shared with her younger sister Deborah became a nightmare. Her clothes were thrown all over the floor. She got into the habit of eating in the bedroom and leaving food all over the place. Dirty plates would be discovered under the bed days after, with mold covering the leftovers. Deborah, her younger sister, hated what her big sister was becoming. She was becoming selfish, irritable, lazy, and dirty. Mrs. Odero lectured and threatened, but there was no change. She decided to keep quiet and pray and wait. It was a wonder that in spite of the laziness, somehow the young lady kept up her grades. The family celebrated the day she left home to go to university after passing high school exams very well. At the end of the semester, the whole family dreaded the coming home of this wonderful young lady, Minnie. Oh, the terror of untidiness is coming, they were thinking. And then Deborah asked, Mom, do I have to share my room with Minnie once again? I wonder how her college roommate survived the semester, moaned Deborah. Finally, Minnie came home, and all were struck with her change of mood. She was happy, she was pleasant to be around, and very cheerful. Deborah stayed out of the bedroom while Minnie unpacked. Finally, the young one could not keep outside any longer, and she decided to go to bed. Expecting to find clothes and other personal belongings scattered everywhere on the floor, Deborah was shocked to find her older sister snoring away and the room looking spick and span. Everything was neatly put away, and the room was even tidier than before. The following day, everyone waited for the untidiness to return, but Minnie was a changed person. Up to today, their mother cannot tell what changed Minnie, but they, however, know that their sister came back to herself, and they were really grateful to God for that transformation. Friends, we just talked about prayer as submission and request for wisdom. Sometimes we pray for God to give us silence when our children are having challenges, to give us patience, and so that is what prayer is. Request for wisdom to know how to bring up our children. That's the end of this section. Please pick up your book at Keswick Bookshop here in Nairobi. Online, you can get a virtual one from Amazon. Keep reading, and God bless.